Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television and Board Game. Today we're doing a dual review of Magic number 5. It came out a few weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to review it, so I kind of want to get to it before the next issue. This has been generally a good series. I think this is the issue that I start to see the issues that I was worried about. So it's written by Jed MacKay, art by Guara, colored by Arianna Consonni, lettered by Dukeshire. Alright, so the story is you have a bunch of Planeswalkers who are also the head of these guilds. Someone goes and tries to assassinate them. They're trying to figure out who. They finally have figured out kind of who's behind it. It's this cult that's trying to bring a god back. No one wants to believe them, so they have to go and travel the various worlds of Magic the Gathering to try to get clues to figure out how to stop things and maybe make people believe that they're not crazy. Alright, so this has been what has worked for the series up so far. It has basically been like a CSI Magic the Gathering. It's a bunch of characters running around trying to figure out who tried to assassinate them. It didn't rely too heavy on characters, locations, magic spells, any of that stuff. If you enjoyed a fantasy setting but like a crime story, it was perfect. I think it did a really solid job of balancing the game and the characters and the story itself. Like the game, the characters were a setting for the story. They were not the drivers of the story. Here's where things start going off the rails and what I was worried about, in that this issue does rely a little bit heavier on characters and locations and histories. To the point that, like, if you are a Magic fan, you will probably be a big fan of this issue, in that it does a lot of name dropping, it's a lot of location dropping. But if you are coming into the story of, like, who's who, or like you're just that familiar with Magic and just want to read the story, you're going to wind up having issues with who's who, and kind of the histories and what's going on, and like the name drops, like basically the reveals and the hints and all that stuff that happens go right over your head if you are not a Magic fan. Like, I am familiar enough with the game that I think I at least recognize one character. There's other names that I have no idea. Well, two characters, but there's like the main name they're going after I have no idea for. So it's like I think what is like that emotional hit, that like big hit of like, hey, here's the big bad, it doesn't feel that big of a deal to me because I'm just unfamiliar with who it is. It would be like, you know, someone not knowing who Sauron is in Lord of the Rings, and like there's no build up at all in that history, and you just come to a comic, you know, crime comic set in Lord of the Rings, and someone's just like, we have to go stop Sauron, and like you don't have a clue who that is. Like, that's not, the threat doesn't hit you. Like, there's just nothing to it. It's just a name. And I think that's kind of what we have here, is like it's just names thrown around, and like, yeah, there's a threat, but at the same time I don't feel that threat because I don't know like how powerful this character is compared to like the other people in this comic. So that is what I've been worried about, would be a comic that falls too much into the characters, too much into the spells, and this, I think, does that a little bit. The art is good. It continues to be pretty solid. You know, as the characters are like bouncing around various planes, trying to figure out who's after them. They're taken to different worlds, and it all kind of looks pretty solid. So in that case, like, the art wise, the comic still is really good. But if you are not a Magic fan, this might be one to be a little bit confusing, or at least just not quite have the impact that, you know, one would hope. However, I think as an arc, it will be a fine issue. It's just one of those, like, we just need to get past this in the next issue, and hopefully that one's a little bit more, has a little bit more explanation for the noobs. So yeah, this is the one I think for the Magic fans more than anything. It is what it is. So yeah, like, you can go get this in comic shops. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code to help a comic shops near you. No comic shop, no problem. We do have some affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage by doing that. Help, yes, you support us. As I said, this is a dual video. If you are into board games, check us out at BoardGameToday.com. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at BoardGameToday. Board game news, role-playing games, miniature games, CCGs, all that type of stuff. Just not video games for the most part, but, you know, physical games, real-world games type thing. If you're into comics, though, check us out at GraphicPolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching Board Game Today. We always appreciate your views and your support, but there are so many ways for you to support our site. Not only can you do it right here on video, but you can go and check us out at boardgametoday.com, where we have more news, reviews, interviews, everything you could ever want. But since you're here, if you can always give us a like, subscribe, or share our videos or watch something else. Is always much appreciated, and get your game on.